Look, you get a nice little line, man. Yeah, get a timeline for me, okay? All right, you got a timeline? All right, so let's give him some cool stuff, man. You know, this is doing all-in-one, man. What's an all-in-one? Well, it made an all-in-one printer, you know? And since they made an all-in-one printer, you give them all-in-one. We had an all-in-one printer for communications, you know, like with a fax machine, you know, could dial you up and talk to you. And then we could print out, you know, like a books, you know. And in case you didn't know, you know, you need to study something, you could scan in the books. So you could scan, print, and learn, and spread with information through telepathy, you know, telepathic, you know, not everybody's telepathic. So we made telephones with telephone lines and shit, you know. All right, so all in one. Here we go. You ready? That's like a Trinity too. Here's a number 3 for you again, okay? So let's give it to him, okay? Let's do some Egyptian stuff. Everybody want to know about the Egyptian stuff, man. Sometimes I think out loud. Here we go, okay? Universal healthcare system. You know, universal satellite system. You know, like movies and TV and stuff, okay? Everybody want to twist it up. You know, it's like the Bible. They're like, hey, man, I'm a preacher, man. I'm going to tell you about this, and it's up to your own interpretation because I don't know nothing, man. I'm not telling you anything about morals and nothing. I'm going to say, you know, just pray to God. Pray to God and not give me your money. You know, those are messed up churches. Now, some of those churches didn't know what they were doing, but they were taking your money because they were saving up and storing because the Bible told them, said, hey, if you don't know what you're talking about, give them words of encouragement, you know, and try to encourage them to be better people, okay, until we figure it out and save all that money. So when the day comes, like, you know, lately, you see all these masks and stuff. Where do you think all that money come from, man? The government, the people in the churches that were saving up money trying to figure this stuff out together, okay? Now, you ready? That's why I said forgive them 77 times 7 times. 77 times 7 times? Yeah, man. You get it? Saving the 7 churches, multiply. You know? It's the saving times. You know? Banks and savings and loan, man. It's a wonderful life. Now, check us out. Universal healthcare system, all right? This is a universal satellite system. You know, the quest, Monty Python and the quest for the Holy Grail, man. The Holy Grail, right? They write stuff down. I said this a while ago, man. I like to practice. You know, most of the time I just right off the cuff, man. Everybody like it when you talk right off the cuff. It's like, man, right off the cuff, you know. You know, you see what I'm saying, man? Look, you got a tree right here, okay? No bark, can't talk. You know, just a silent warrior, man, like a samurai, man. It's like a samurai warrior or a Samaritan warrior, you know? What's a Samaritan warrior, man? You know, a Samaritan warrior, man. You know? Say marry the 10 commandments, you know? You know, put them in your heart, okay? Now you go. And not barking, right? But I got a branch, you know? And they say, hey, an olive branch, you know? Or wisdom for your heads, you know? Olive branch, like olive tree. Well, that's an olive tree and ain't got no olives, you know? That's why they say U.S. Navy, man. Popeye the Sailor Man. You know? Popeye the Sailor Man, you know? And the girlfriend was the olive branch, you know, like Jesus and the olive branch. You know, I'll give you some shade so you don't burn up the earth and all the resources, okay? There you go, you got a tree, okay? You know what? That's a tree of life, man. Now, if you chop down a tree of life, you know, it's merely a flesh wound, you know? You know, the earth, man, it's merely a flesh wound, man. You can grow another tree if you plant another tree. If you don't plant another tree, then it's not merely a flesh wound. You see what I'm saying? So the Indians were trying to tell you that, so they took branches, right? And they put arrowheads on it, man. They stop chopping down all the trees. You gotta leave some for, you know, the people to have, you know, for shade and stuff. So there's just arrows and stuff, you know. Get it? Broken arrow. So then they're like, man, we gotta stop war. We gotta make a peace treaty. So, you know, one of them got shot and they're like, they broke the arrow off, broken arrow, man. And then they pull it out of the heart, man. And like, we gotta heal up, man. Okay. So anyways, you know, so quest for the Monty Python, the Holy Grail, man. It's like, hey, man, you're like a one-legged man, man. You chop it off, merely a flesh wound. You chop this off, merely a flesh wound. Chop this off, merely a flesh wound, man. Now they're hopping around like a one-legged man in a pirate contest, right? Everybody trying to act like pirates, man. You know, we had water pirates, man, and then we had land pirates, and then we had space pirates, man. Well, we can't have space pirates because you have space pirates, and guess what? They'll take all the resources from the world, man, and they won't have nothing, okay? So pirates is a bad idea, you know? That's why we have laws against piracy, okay? So since everybody want to do piracy, we said, well, how about a reverse mortgage, man? We'll have a reverse plan, reverse psychology. Let them pirate all this stuff, get it all in their brains, and then we'll decode it and, you know, psychological solution. And then we'll give them, like, super education. Here we go. Ready for super education? This is Operation Warp Speed, man. You thought we were kidding? Okay, here we go. Let's talk about the Egyptians, huh? Well, you know, nobody knew how to teach the kids, man. And they thought they were just teaching like how to screw the neighbor over. Hey, screw that person over. We need their stuff. Hey, I want to take their stuff too, man. Hey, all right, let's take their stuff, you know. Well, how about this, man? Time cop, man. Timeline. Hey, past, future, super present, man. It's getting brighter, man, like a magic flashlight, man. It's going off in your head right now. We go, what about those Egyptians? Well, we had all this stuff on the Discovery Channel to make things interesting, you know, but nobody was teaching. So he's like, hey, you got it? Pyramid, man. Pyramid schemes. Get it? Pyramid schemes. Let's say it again. Pyramid schemes. All right? Yeah, look, all this stuff. They built these pyramids. Like, hey, why do they build these pyramids, you know? Well, you know, I said last summer, you got wind, right? If there's nothing, okay? There's nothing. Now I'm going to give you a little flight education. Everybody been wanting to know about this. You see the TV? Stargate. You get it? Stargate? Can you decipher the mysteries of the old and little symbols and stuff? Well, I'll tell you why you had to decipher the symbols. The Holy Grail, man. Okay? Why? You see the tree? There ain't no trees. There ain't no paper. How they gonna write it down on a scroll or a parchment, huh? For people to remember. There ain't no trees. So, they don't like the pharaohs. So then they say, we'll make a bunch of cat people, pharaohs, you know, like feral crazy cats, man. If pharaohs show up, we'll all just attack them and drive them crazy. Like a bunch of morons, you know? So we say, well, let's tell the morons then. So the pharaohs of ancient Egypt were like Jesus too. You know, it was an inside job. I just try to remind you from New York, it was an inside job. So they go, you know, you didn't know? They had psychological operations thousands of years ago. Thousands. And thousands and thousands of years ago. You go, man, this is some stuff that's just boiling up from thousands of years ago. Yeah, thousands of years ago. And they say, you remember Indiana Jones? Hey, you guys ever been to Indiana? Indiana, don't let them tear our monuments down, you know? Because, you know, people are jonesing for real education, you know? And you can't have real education without monuments to remind people of the mistakes of the past. What do you think Hitler was talking about? You know, you hit the layer, you know? You hit the liar? Did you hit the liar? Oh, yeah. We're hitting the liar, man. We're taking all their lies away. Okay, so we're hitting the liar and taking all the lies away and getting them truth. You know, now you got the Bible. You see? Hitler didn't burn the good books, man. He was burning the books that had lies in them. Because there were so many different translations of the Bible back then, nobody understood it. They go, man, what are you talking about? He says, well, burn these books, man. It ain't doing you no good because the teachers ain't teaching. You give them books, you send them to school, and they don't know what the hell they're talking about. So we go, okay. That's why I got, you know, some places are like heaven on earth, and other places are like living hells, man. Because, as I said, you know, President Trump said, hey, man, it's real crap country over there, nice country over there, and our infrastructure's messed up. We need new roads so we can get this tourism, education stuff going. Let's tell them about the temples, man. And why you keep talking about the temples, man? That's Egyptian stuff. Well, because you need to know. You know, when I was a kid, man, you know, these Israelis, man, they were having the space camp thing, you know, we had all stuff going on with the aliens, the Israelis, you know, I talk to some people and they're like, shalom, man, what's up, shalom, shalom. I'm like, shalom, yeah, man, shalom, shalom, you know, shalom, man. He said, shalom, you get it? When the bombs dropped, shalom all, man, burn them all up. Then they're like, okay. So it's like, let me tell you about landing parties. We'll get more into this later, man. After I take this little cool flight, man. I got some buddies, man. They're going to take me up in a little plane, man. We're going to have some fun. But I told them I got some stuff I got to do first. So anyways, listen. I'm going to tell you about Stargate. You see where they had the planes, you know, the little alien aircraft landing on top of the temples? I want you to follow me closely. The alien aircraft were landing on top of the big, big temples. Let me tell you why. Desert sand, man. There's nothing but sand out there. I want you to hold on to that thought, okay? This is how you plant seeds for education. I want you to remember a big alien craft landing on their temple, okay? pyramid. Because of the pyramid schemes, we said, hey, there's a pyramid that's not a scheme. And they go, man, what are you talking about? Well, your alien craft is going to land on a pyramid. No, not really. That was just to throw you off. But remember that thought. Everybody hated the pharaohs, man. Why? Because they said, hey, we got none of this technology and stuff. All the technology was taken away because, people were blowing each other up with nuclear bombs and stuff. You think I would give you technology back just like that after you blew everybody up and your brains got retarded from the deficiencies, brain deficiencies, defects and stuff from, weird stuff happens when nuclear bombs go off. You know what I'm saying? So they say, it melted like crops and stuff and made deserts and things, So they're like, hey, we get all these people and we'll move this water over here, man. And we get this water over here and then we'll get grass and trees and forests growing, Well, that's a good idea. Everybody hated it, man. It's like, what are you going to do? Sit around and eat each other like cannibals? Or are you going to get over here and grow crops and grass and trees and stuff, And some of them were like, no, man. My body, man. My body's your salvation, And they're eating each other. You want real history, man? That's the truth. And they're like, so the pharaohs they got whips and stuff. They want to act like animals. We're whipping them and stuff, man. And they're like, hey, get over here and bring the water. And we're going to move this river over here, man. And then we're going to build a farmland over here, And then they rebelled, And everything got all messed up from there. Then they get out in the desert, man. And the other aliens are like, okay, let's teach them a lesson then. Turn on the fucking machines, man. Turn them on. Turn them on right now. They're going to die out there in the desert. It's like, well, look what they did. And it says, no, man. It's time for them to learn. Turn on the machines. All right? Like manna from heaven. They're out there and they're dying of starvation and thirst. Make a snow come down and give them cool, refreshing, Now, oh, man, now we're freezing, but they have these blankets and stuff with them, man, because that's all they had to take with them. And like, man, everybody's walking together. Man, I'm cold, man. Come over here and snuggle with me. I need a hug. Man, it was so hot yesterday, but there's snow out here now. I don't know what's going on. And it says, whoa, water. There's water here. And they go, look at the Moses guy now, man. It's like, hey, there's water coming from heaven, man. What's going on? And it says, well, I think that's what the pharaohs are trying to do. They're trying to tell us we got to move this river over here to get this thing to hold this water so we can have crops. Well, that's what the snow is about, man. Oh, yeah, that's what they wanted? Yeah, look at it melting now, man. We're out here in the desert and we're melting our brains, because we're being stupid. But, they say, hey, look at the snow, man. The snow's melting and now we got water. We're getting cool. Oh, man, we could drink. Whoa. And they're like, man, you see what I mean? That's how it was back then. So, like, okay, we got pyramids now, right? So, like, well, let's teach them all a lesson. So, if it fails, then it's a fail-safe. Like those nuclear bombs, man. Like, hey, we don't want to drop the nuclear bombs, so we got fail-safes. And a fail-safe is teachers, man. Education and teachers. Eat. Education and teachers. Eat. That's how we taught them back in the day. Eat. Education and teachers. Eat. And they still got that saying, like, oh, man, thank you. That Kentucky Fried Chicken is finger licking good, man. We got food, man. What did the chicken eat? Oh, the corn we were growing out there in the field. Give them corn, man. All right, corn? Yeah, man. That's bread you can eat, man. You remember that stuff in Egypt? We make cornbread to remember that stuff, man. And then they go, wait a minute. What else have we got? Well, when things went south, they're like, you can't take none of this stuff with you, man. The pharaohs, man. Like the government stuff, like like we got in America, like governments, the House representatives, the senators, the president, governors, mayors, and stuff, man. And then you got rich families and middle class families, And then there's some families out there that shouldn't be poor, but they are, man, because they give away everything they got, trying to figure out how to help people. So we go, remember Egypt? They said the gods of the Old Testament, I was recently somewhere, I'm not going to say any names, I'm not going to mention any names. When I was at the Center for Disease Control in Atlanta, they said, hey, one day you're going to have to give a speech, man, and when you do, don't mention any names. So you say, this makes me feel when you do this, is what they were telling us to say. And I'm not saying that. I'm going to say, I'm just not going to mention any names. But when I'm falling asleep and I'm hearing a TV show on the TV, like they're trying to brainwash me and say the gods of the Old Testament, not the gods, G-O-D-S, the guards of the Old Testament were evil people. I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, well, it's because they screwed up the education system. Let's tell them about Egypt, man. Okay? They say, hey, if you're going to chew out every country in the world, man, start with yourselves first. So we did America. Now we're doing Egypt, okay? So Egypt goes, hey, what do you got for us? Y'all didn't know, man, while I was talking to all those countries all around the world, man, I was talking to some Egyptians at the same time. That's why that other account, you can't see it. I had a lot of Facebook accounts. I had a lot of internet relay chat accounts. I had a lot of social media accounts, man. I had like a different personality here and there and there and everywhere, man. So I could talk to all the countries in the world. You guys didn't know. I said, hey, you guys need to start praying, man. Pray for me because we're going to do this crazy thing all around the world, man. Egyptians. They said, man, they're stealing the gold stuff and the silver stuff, and they're stealing this money stuff, and they try to go and buy this for the family, buy that for the family, buy this for the family. None of it was actual resources they could use, you know, out there in the desert with nothing but sand. And that's where the cliche came from, English language, say, I can't believe you're sandbagging me. You keep sandbagging me. I got nothing in my bag but sand, man. What am I going to do with sand? I said, well, when the storm comes, you can use the sandbags to keep the water out, right? Well, you wouldn't have those storms if we had the proper crops and trees and forestry, you know, for natural weather system. You go, whoa, really? Yeah. Because why you're putting all those sandbags up is because you didn't listen to God. You know, water means spirit and wisdom. So that's some Indian language for you. And they go, whoa, you mean if we listen to God, did what we're supposed to do, then we need all those sandbags, right? Oh, well, that makes sense. Don't you? Will give us some Egypt stuff. Why did they build the big temples? Why did they put all those riches in the temples? Because those pharaohs said, I'm going to take all of this stuff, right? And you heard the Jesus story, and the Jesus was like, hey, your life's going to be required of you tonight. And the Pharaoh said, damn straight it is. And matter of fact, I'm going to give me all my riches, man. I want you to put it in this temple, and I want you to bury me in it. That's what those pharaohs kept doing, man. Is having everybody give them all their riches and bury them in it. So they remember they were heroes. Oh, those pharaohs were heroes? I can't believe you said that. The Bible said they were bad, evil people. No, they weren't. They read those Bibles, man. Everybody got their black book, like their little favorite woman or their favorite guy. You know, go call them up, my black book, man. I got my black book, man. I'm going to call my black book. You know, up in the mountains, we got black books, too. They're called the Holy Bible. We got a lot of history in it. Some of us, it's born with it. It's in our DNA, man. You know, I didn't even have to read it. It's just, I got it put all in my head when I was a kid, man. The Center for Disease Control. You know, because everybody have a disease in the mind, you know. So it says, you know, they buried him with all the riches, man. And it says, look all these riches, man, in his temple. You know, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. You know, the angel revival kingdom, you know, the kingdom of God. You know, heaven on earth. And it says, well, you know, let's talk about the temple then. All these preachers and churches talk about this and that. And I says, well, you need the space program going, man. You know, you think this planet is the only thing we got, but man, there's a whole universe out there, okay? And that's not a joke. You know, my grandmother, she used to think, hey, they just go in a room and get on TV, man, and they do that. You know, you guys don't know that. Like on the other side of the country, some people still think those rockets that we put up in the air were just on TV. So we flew a bunch of jets, you know, and they say, verify your information. So I took a U-Haul and said, hey, thanks U-Haul for the van. I'm going to drive around and say, you all Americans, you know, remember that? To verify. And I says, I look up, I see, hey, there's a quiet jets, man, you can't even hear. And it ain't just over Florida, man. It's all over the world, man. It's all over America, you know. So they say, bury all these riches, man, in this temple, man. These pyramid schemes that everybody's got to fix and heal the world, man. Pyramid schemes, you know. Because they don't take you nowhere. They don't get anywhere. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything, you know. I said, put all these riches in here, you know. Because the guy said, well, it's better to be poor than poor in spirit or poor in wisdom or poor in education. So the Pharaoh said, take all those riches, take all those gold, take all that, take all those worldly things. They said, don't concentrate on worldly things. take all those worldly things and you put them in the pyramid and you bury them underground so people forget about that crap and they do what they need to do. That's the pharaohs of Egypt. Whoa, man, nobody ever thought of that, huh? You know? So then they go, well, what's the pyramids for, man? Well, if you got a big pyramid, you know, in a 3D space, right? You remember earlier, there's another video. Go ahead, scroll through the video channels, you know. And it said, you got fifth dimensional thinking. First dimension, second dimension, third dimension, and we never do fourth dimension because fourth dimension means death. That's the Egyptians. That's what they were telling you. That's why the pyramids were underground. You had to dig them up. It's fifth dimensional thinking. Now, what's the fifth dimension? God. Now, let me help them out. You want a 3D space? There's 3 sides to a pyramid. 1, 2, 3. You know? Well, you know. The Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. What is that? That's the good host offering solutions trust. Banks of trust and loans and ideas and things to build. It actually benefit humankind, you know, and angels and aliens and societies. So they go, what's the fourth dimension? Well, if you look at those damn pyramids, they got 3 sides. 1, 2, 3. And you look at the bottom, they got a 4th side, right? That's death. So like, man, can't do that. So then the other guy says, okay. Then they talk to another mathematician. He says, well, that one didn't work, man. And he says, okay, we're going to build a bigger temple. A bigger temple? You know how long it's going to take to build that? And he says, man, you see how long it's been since they dropped those bombs and destroyed everything, man? I mean, we barely got any technology left, man. We can't even use the technology we got. Why? Universal satellite system. Hey, did you know you got to push this button or do this or do that, you know, to get this technology stuff to work again? Because there's like a field on the planet where none of the electronics and stuff will work. Oh, nuclear fallout. Like electromagnetic pulse, like a big electromagnetic pulse. You know what a peace treaty was? It said never, ever, ever set off nuclear bombs in the atmosphere, right? Because this country had this, and this country had this, and this country had these fallout, and this country had that fallout, and it had advantages and stuff. Let me tell you about those alien angels that people hate so much. They had technology. They had scientist labs underground. They still do today, and we're not going to tell you where they are. And they said, you know what we'll do? We'll all suffer together. So in the areas where there wasn't like electromagnetic pulse interference, they went ahead and set off nuclear bombs in the atmosphere. So like the nuclear scientists and nuclear submarines, they equalize the pressure. So they said we'll all suffer together, so they'll stop trying to fight and kill each other. Well, and it says, well, that's like all 4 directions of the compass. What if they forget? We'll make a 4-sided pyramid. You know, the Black Plague, man. You know, so much radiation. You know, well, the sky is black at night and out there in space, you know, without the proper protection or spacesuits and things, you know, then that radiation, man. So they say 4 sides. North, south, east, and west, because there is death all around, man. So I go, okay, what's the 5th dimension? Well, if you have a firm foundation, that's the cornerstone. You know, all the people that had to die to prove that point. You mean there's people in good society that said, yeah, push the button, man, we'll do it, we'll all suffer together. That happened. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, and it says, well, the good of diplomacy. You know, the guards of diplomacy said, we'll all suffer together, go ahead, push the button. That's what happened. So that's why we have deserts in all over the world, you know? So it was equal. Everybody wanted equal rights, so we made the Constitution. You know? The constellation of stars and the Constitution. You see? So you got 4 sides of the pyramid now, and there's a 5th side on the bottom. So we made 5 books of the Bible. For the 5 fingers, you reach out with and shake hands and make good deals. And they go, well, they were looking at all these riches, and it says, okay, well, this time, I want you to go out there, and I want you to raid all of the lands, and I want you to take everybody's stuff, everything of super rich value. I want you to take it all and put it in a temple, and I want you to bury it. So that's what they did. You know? And then they twist up the history and it said, no, pharaohs were bad people, man. So we buried them with all the riches. No, that's what they said. They said, go out here, and when I die, I want you to take all this shit that I got, I want you to bury it in the temple with me. That's what they said. And that's what they did. It says, man, well, because they weren't doing what they're supposed to do, it says, well, if you can't plant crops and get this stuff growing again to where we can protect the environment, you know, then it really doesn't matter about all this other stuff. So just take all the stuff and throw it in the temple that we're building, because you got to have water to build the temple to make bricks. And they go, man, bricks? Yeah, bricks. What do you think when your mind gets stupid? You know, they go, hey, I got a brick, man, of this stuff for your mind to just dilute you a little bit, you know, bricks. Just like in the Egyptians, you know, bricks. Hey, you need some wisdom? Drink a little water. You got water to drink? No, man, they were busy making bricks out of it. So I said, bricks. Yeah, man. You don't know that's why they got temples in South America, just like they had in Egypt? The only difference is the temples in South America have vines and stuff growing all over them, you know, because there's trees and forestry down there. Oh, yeah, so you look at Egypt, and they got nothing but sand and desert. You know, you're supposed to remember something. Yep. Okay. Riches didn't do them any good. So they said, well, put some temples in South America where they got the rainforests and stuff, man. Hey, and in the northern states, they got trees and stuff too. Now you got that middle area, look kind of like Egypt, man, and like, man, can you imagine that? Now that is wisdom. And they go, well, what do you mean? Well, a lot of people, they look at the Mexicans down there at the border and they say Mexico and New Mexico, man. We put that way. You don't see any temples down there, do you? You see any pyramid temples or pyramid schemes? No, man, we got Area 51 and we got a thing at Roswell, New Mexico, man. You know why we did that? It's because, you know, you look down south and you go, man, there's a temple there. And there's forestry and there's plants and there's trees and there's crops. And you know what? That means the south can actually do it. Then you look up north and you say, hey, they got trees and crops and grass and all that stuff. It means the north can do it. I said, man, that means the middle class should be able to meet in the middle somewhere. You know, like the story in the Bible, we made a bigger version of it, you know, where God divided the spirits, the south and the north. And then we got the battleground states in the south, you know, in the United States, you know. And they all come together and they meet together and they fix everything. And it's like, man, just like the plan said. Let me tell you what those 4-sided pyramids were for. Now, the engineers have been over-engineering all those airplanes and helicopters and stuff. You know, I put a video for the helicopter thing, what we need to do with that, right? And they thought that was a great idea. I mean, they shut down that Facebook. Man, I got to take this video and hide it, man. Wow, I can't believe we said that, you know, out in public like that. Well, I'll tell you why. You know, A.C.R tank killer, man, it's a pretty cool plane, you know. The American, you know. The American. You know, one national educator, you know. All around, man. Since everybody had zero ideas of what to do, we made the A.C.R tank killer, man. And they wanted to see if I still remember, you know, because I had that black box, you know, up there in my head to say, how do we access it, man? I got amnesia. Well, it's because the Army goes, hey, man, how would you defend from tanks with no technology? I'm like, man, the catacombs, man. You dig big things underground, tanks drive over, they fall in, and their guns are pointing straight up, and they can't kill each other. It's like, man, that's some ancient history stuff. How do you know that? I says, well, you know, okay. You ever been out to the Great Plains in America, man? They got signs everywhere, man. I know, I just rode a motorcycle through there. There's navy camouflage colors, man. They're like gray, white, and blue and stuff. They look really cool. You guys see those videos, man? Love it, man. Hey, there's a person in South Carolina where we started the space camp thing. They got that bike, man. I told them they could keep it as a souvenir. It's pretty cool. You know, the winds are blowing at like 100, 200 miles an hour, you know. And so we got hurricanes come through the United States, man. You get it? Weather machines making hurricanes to tell the people that got trees and crops. The wind in the desert blow things over, tear things down, man. You know, without those machines, that stuff takes over, and then we can't control where the winds and the hurricanes go. So you mean if we run out of those natural resources that are non-renewable, we can't run those machines and control where those hurricanes go? Ta-da! Now they're catching on. So you go, we got a big desert out there, and we use these machines to kind of deter some of that till we get it fixed, right? So you see a 100, 200 mile an hour, you know, storm like a hurricane coming over. The water hits dry land, starts tearing up the trees and stuff, right? Why do you think they blow that heavy air down there? They have snow coming through there to get a thicker air there, right? No resistance. So there's no resistance and the wind comes through there. I mean, those winds, they make tornadoes, all kinds of stuff, tearing up the lands all across the place, man. So 100, 200 miles an hour wind, right? Let me tell you about the common sense alien technology everybody was so afraid of. What's Mr. Kirk going to say when he starts talking? Oh, cool. Let's tell him. There's big alien pyramid temples, man. What are they building for? They rolled them on logs. They did this, they did that. Why can't we figure out what these things are for? Well, I just told you what they're for. To remind you what you're not supposed to do and what you're supposed to do. And let me help you out with the new technology for the planes and stuff that you need to do. Well, if you were building those pyramids like, you know, the Egyptians were doing, and some of those angels and aliens were doing, then you know, when that high-speed wind comes and hits, no matter if it's blowing from the north, the south, the east, or the west, and hits that ramp, I mean, basic physics, remember I told you last summer, I said, hey, the engine is out there and it's what you can't see. But it's there. It's the engine. You get it? The engine is there. It's an invisible engine. That's the craziest thing I ever heard. I said, so that's because you don't know anything.